Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I can assure you that Annette and I are honored to be here tonight. On the way over, we had an opportunity to look at the guest list, and it's a powerful guest list headed by a number of our congressmen. And Frank has asked for a number of folks to be introduced tonight. I would like to do one more just brief introduction, and that would be to have the wounded warriors in the room who are present, a half dozen or so. Please stand so we can recognize you. Well, General Pace, I don't know what to say. That was an incredible introduction. Thank you very much, sir, for that. What he didn't say, folks, was that I've worked for General Pace in my career now 3, arguably 4 times. And I can tell you tonight that I saw none of those warm words on my fitness reports when I worked for General Pace. I'll give you a couple examples. In one report, he said, tall, broad-shouldered, and handsome. He would be the complete package if only his talents matched his enthusiasm. In another one, he said, this officer possesses an abundance of tact, people skills, and attention to detail. I just haven't seen them yet. In fact, none of that's true, except for the fact that I worked for General Pace on again, arguably 4 occasions. And although he has been recognized tonight, I would tell you a man could have no finer boss, a warrior, a statesman, just an unparalleled leader, and someone that our entire Corps still admires today in ways that just escape words. Sir, thank you for your service and for your leadership over the years. I would certainly like to thank the Center for this prestigious award tonight. I took a look at the list of the other recipients, and it's quite a murderer's row, and I sort of pale by comparison to some of the previous recipients. But I would say certainly, sir, that I gladly accept the award on behalf of some 202,000 Marines out there. We have an incredible Marine Corps today who come from every walk of life, from every race and religion, and from every state in the Union. Our recruiters across these great states tell them, warn them in advance, okay, your training will be long and difficult. There are grown men there who are paid thousands of dollars a year to make your life miserable. They will stress every fiber in your body, but they will do it in leadership through example. We promise you nothing except that if you make it through, in the end, you will earn the title Marine. And yet they come. They're drill instructors. Almost all of them with combat experience share the famous words of Mark Twain in telling the young recruits that the most exhilarating thing in life is to be shot at and missed. But they also assure those young recruits that, with very few exceptions, they're going to have that experience themselves because they're going to war, and yet they stay. Their combat commanders tell them that once again our Corps has drawn the short straw. It was Anbar in Iraq, it's Helmand Province in Afghanistan. That university casualty studies show that a Marine is twice as likely to be killed as a soldier, many times more likely than the other services, and yet they can't wait to get there. In fact, one of the problems I have as Commandant is that we have 20,000 Marines in Afghanistan today. I've got another 180,000 who are anxious for their turn to go. And that's certainly a good problem to have. You know, Ronald Reagan once said that freedom is always just one generation away from extinction. We do not pass it along in the bloodstream to our children. It must be preserved and sometimes fought for by those who hold it dear. And ladies and gentlemen, we have such a generation today who are more than willing to take up that gauntlet in defense of our great nation. Frank, I accept the award on behalf of our families because they are likewise incredible. If you'd asked me 9 years ago, would our families be showing the resiliency and the perseverance that they are showing today, I would have said that the answer is probably not. That the stress and strain of one-to-one deployments to dwell, gone for 7 months, home for 7 months, and back again, would just tear at the seams. But that has not been the case. We look at a list of about 12 metrics that give us the health of the force every month. And in virtually every case, unauthorized absence, desertion, recruitment, retention, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, divorces, except in a couple of instances, suicides and, interestingly, sexual assault, our figures are as good as or better than they were in 2001. We have, as was indicated, put a lot of effort into our families, and Annette and I determined early on that one of our primary objectives would be to bring our family programs onto what we call a wartime footing. So we have put time and resources against the effort, but there are reasons for that. One, they deserve it. Okay, they also serve who sit and wait. Secondly, we know that a Marine simply performs better on the battlefield if he knows that back home his family is provided for. And thirdly, it is simply a good business decision, because we know when they reach that fork in their young lives and have to make that determination as to whether or not they stay or go, if Sally decides she's going back to Texas, and you can decide what you want to do, Jake is probably going to go most times. But if she says, you know, they're trying, it's obvious that they're working at it. There's areas where they can do better, but the effort is there. We think we'll keep that great young Marine for as long as they choose to stay with us. That's the purpose of our effort. And again, with our families out there today, it is working. Sometimes we have to deliver terrible news to a family. And I'll share a story with you that I experienced here several months ago. I wrote a letter, as I do to every family, and the lead sentence says that it is with a heavy heart that Annette and I offer our condolences on the loss of, in this case, the tragic loss of your daughter. We had a Marine captain, a helicopter pilot, crash off of Djibouti. The entire crew was lost, and that prompted such letter. In about 2.5 weeks, I got a letter back from the father. And his words to me were thank you, Commandant, for your condolences. But I must say to you that my wife and I do not consider Laura's death to be tragic. She was doing something that she enjoyed more than anything in life, and that was flying her helicopter. She was doing it in the presence of people that she tremendously admired and respected. And she was doing it because she loved her country. You know, every day my wife and I mourn her loss, especially at such an early age. But there are worse ways to die, and we do not consider her loss tragic. I changed that letter. What that story, I think, represents is that our families are tired, but they're extremely proud that their Marine is part of this nation's warrior class. Let me end with just a thought, perhaps. This last weekend, General Jones and I participated in 9/11 ceremonies in honor of the victims of that terrible day. During that ceremony and in the work up to it, it was stated once again that our great nation has not been attacked in such a manner for the last 9 years. Now, there are a number of reasons for that, I believe, but if you talk to the troops in Iraq or Afghanistan, they will tell you that they think they are a major part of why this country has not been attacked. They believe that they're engaging forward, that some of these same knuckleheads who would attempt to attack our country are instead coming to fight them in Iraq and increasingly in Afghanistan. And they're okay with that. That's precisely the way that they would like to see it. However, it concerns them, and they do stay very informed, when they see the polls that say that our nation is losing support for what's taking place in Afghanistan. Those great young Marines and soldiers and sailors and airmen would say that there's a lot of things that have to be done by folks well above their pay grade. More work needs to be done to make for a better government in Afghanistan. More encouragement needs to be applied across the border in Pakistan. We need to make sure that they have the right kit to accomplish their missions and come home safe. But most important to every serviceman or woman on the battlefield is that they know their country is behind them. I would be the first to say that our nation faces, I think, some very serious challenges. And I'm confident that wise men will examine these problems closely and make the right decisions. But it's my view that those who would suggest that we simply walk away need to fast forward to the last chapter of the book and consider the consequences associated with such an act. I don't think that they will like what those possibilities represent. And so my belief is that we've got to win this fight. Our nation, the future of our children and grandchildren, to be able to enjoy citizenship as Americans, as we have known it, are all at risk. And so I simply hope that those wise men make wise decisions, and we are able to be successful in this long war. Thank you. Thank you. Let me finish with a quote from George Orwell. To paraphrase, he said that our countrymen should sleep well in their beds at night, knowing that rough men stand ready to do violence on those that would offer them harm. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct privilege to remind you that significant portions of those rough men tonight are United States Marines. God bless you all, and thank you for the opportunity.
We're going to present the award, and I would ask a former Commandant of the Marine Corps, and as I mentioned, past recipient of this award, General Jim Jones, to join us for the presentation. I'll read the citation. General Conway, the Keeper of the Flame Award recognizes those who devote their public careers to strengthening the nation's security and to the protection and propagation of freedom throughout the world. The award is meant to acknowledge both the past contributions of its recipients and to remind others who share their commitment to liberty of the work yet to be done.